I'm sorry. Also, kind of not sorry at the same time. Look, there's just gonna be new info that keeps coming out every single time, and to be honest, I keep seeing people also just keep talking about it, which understandable. And also at the very same time, it is a game I enjoy. It is a game that I absolutely love, and honestly, for the last 4 years, keep me entertained and not lose my mind. So if I'm gonna be absolutely honest, I just want to see the best for the game. I want to see what's best for the game and just how things go in the future as we kind of just go through life and stuff. But at the very same time, if there's going to be something to talk about it, then I probably will, cover it. Maybe not every little thing, but I will definitely talk about it. That being said, it's time for some more voice acting nonsense. Except, I want to kind of do a little bit of a spin on it. Considering that a lot of the voice acting stuff that we have seen has been a lot of negative things when it comes down to, how VA has been acting and certain things like that. But I do want to focus on a slight bit of the positive side too, to show that not every single VA is on the same level as what we have seen with the ones that's been attacking Jacob and going absolutely crazy, crashing out on different social media, whether it's Twitter, Blue Sky, Reddit, doesn't necessarily matter. It just like, there is a lot of nonsense in that direction, but there's also good in these other directions. And it's just nice to see that it's a bit refreshing and, oh, not everybody's focused on the same damn thing. Or at least not everybody is trying to, be a part of the same things that a lot of these angry asshole VAs people are trying to do. So it's nice to see that. That being said, the Chinese community now knows about the situation, and thank goodness, to be honest, because if anybody's going to be able to do anything, it would probably be them. The fact that they had to get involved is actually kind of crazy, and it's a bit wild. But at the same time, this might be for the better, if we're gonna be honest. And knowing how Hoyo is when it comes down to literally any sort of community feedback, they listen to them. So when it comes down to it, this is gonna be a good time for us. So what happens is essentially it's just that they're just seeing all the stuff again like we are when it comes down to a lot of the VA drama, when it comes down to Paimon's VA, or just basically anything else of that whole situation. But they're mainly more focused on the Paimon VA, as far as I've seen with people talking about it and different screenshots, and even with Hirahe and all the others kind of yapping about it, how they just want her VA to be replaced. And yeah, very much so, I absolutely understand it. There was also like a video that I want to say Karina put out where it came down to talking about these YouTubers kind of saying they spread misinformation or things like that, which is obviously for the most part, at least the good ones, not necessarily the case. And when it comes down to it, that's just not ultimately how it is. And again, if you've been in the anime community, you've seen this stuff before when it comes to voice actors and how weird they can get and how much some of them can, just go out their way to be a head ass and have basically this higher than thou sort of type of mentality. And what ends up happening in those situations a lot of the time is that those trash VAs usually win. They usually win, and there's not much anybody can do about that. And then there's usually some type of stigma behind each person that's involved in whatever drama, and ultimately that just is what it is. This is the first time I've seen where a case like this is a bit different, and it's not necessarily going to be ultimately the same song and dance story of these VAs getting away with shit and then ultimately, just continue to do whatever the hell they want to. So this is a refreshing take to show you that, hey, not every single, person that's within the VA industry is just going to get away with the shit that they have been pulling. And to be honest, they really, again, should not have been on this damn project for Genshin, considering it's non-union, and, well, union voice actors working on this shit. That will be a bit of their rule breaking, but they don't care. They don't really care at all. They'll just enforce it when they want to enforce it, because, yeah, this whole situation is just unnecessary. And again, I have to point out, literally every other country is having a fine ass time with their voice actors. Why is it only our shit that's absolutely screwed up? And it's gotta be like, well, it can't just be, if it is the company, it can't just be the company. It gotta be the people or the organization or whatever. And that's essentially how the story goes when it comes down to this type of thing, right? Everybody else got their shit together, but this one country don't? And again, if literally people were just, at least the VAs, were just quiet and just let things cook and let them be silent on shit, they would still have people you know, joining up and being like, yo, you might need to sign that contract and all that type of stuff. Because in the beginning, everybody was for, the strike and everything like that. For the most part, everybody was. I won't lie, my ass was into, it was for it too. Because I'm just like, alright, if they just want the AI shit to kind of be gone, perfectly fine. I understand that. Let's get this whole thing wrapped up and get this going back quickly, And that's ultimately how it was. Then, as time goes on, people get annoyed, and people are still holding out hope for, the strike to kind of come through and come to an end at some point in time, so we can get our characters voiced back again. And then when Lycon and Soldier 11 got basically yeeted out and, replaced with other voice actors, that's when it hit for me. I was like, oh shit, okay, so there's something going on here. I don't know what, but we need to kind of start looking into this. And then obviously for everybody else, the Kanish thing kind of was like the thing that was like, oh shit, okay, this is getting kind of crazy, right? And we need to start investigating things ourselves. And a lot of shit has came out outside the, the crash outs and nonsense that was. But at the very same time, it at least just showed how really one-sided and how messed up this situation can get if the union definitely gets their way. And it also kind of just shows you how weak the union is, or at least SAG-AFTRA is when it comes down to it. Because when it comes down to it, you get VAs that are hella for this shit, and then you get VAs that are just silently kind of for this shit, but not necessarily getting into the smoke like everybody else is. You got Paimon's VA that's doing this, you got Sucro's VA that's out there doing some wild shit, you got Candace out here, obviously, being on some more ridiculous shit, you got basically Albedo that's also on that type of timing, Hutao's VA that's on that type of timing to a point, you got, who else is out there? I feel like I'm missing one. Kaching's VA, that's also pretty much on that type of timing as well. Oh, and I remembered Lynette's VA, which was honestly kind of was on nonsense before this whole situation started. I mean, if you looked at the whole, Don recoloring of the characters, turning them black sort of thing. If you paid attention to that drama, you already know that was already gonna be some nonsense, and this doesn't surprise me. But when it comes down to it, though, it is just, again, so many people that are just actively charged into this, which makes the entire situation sad, because it's just like, there shouldn't be, to be honest, a reason for the most part to replace any damn body when it comes down to it. If everybody was just normal and acted, like regular people, and not necessarily be on weird ass demon time and trying to just basically bitch out every single player and every single person that, come through and see the nonsense, you would still probably would have a job at this point, right? Or at least you're probably going to lose your job at some point in the near future, especially Paimon's VA, because yeah, once you get to the Chinese player side and they out here basically getting pissed off because of what's happening, you already know you're pretty much, there's a good chance that you might get cooked. There's a good chance that they already have a replacement ready to freaking go. What new Paimon might sound like might sound a bit crazy, and it's gonna take some getting used to, right? And that's literally for anybody that's gonna get their whole roles replaced. But at the very same time, it is what it is, and that's just ultimately how it's going to go. Now, after I said all that, I'm gonna go ahead and just be real with you. Not every single Union English VA should get replaced. And to keep very much a stack with you, looking at the VAs that hasn't said anything, or basically isn't necessarily involved with a lot of what's going on, they're fine. They're perfectly fine. Granted, we don't know exactly where they stand, but still, they're perfectly fine, and nothing is really, being serious on that end of the stick, right? Like Zach, for example, who voices Ether. All that man is doing is just still chilling with the fans. He's just chilling with them and having a nice ass time, talking about the tea, and the tea is actually just regular tea. Or you have someone like, Sayu or Kagi's Films, if you remember that old name. And when it comes down to it, they're just basically, just chilling out, making Sino jokes. Because of course he is. Gosh damn you. But when it comes down to it, though, they're just having a chill ass time. You get people that like, and then you obviously have people that were involved into what's going on, like Auroron's VA, very nice, very classy, not necessarily being on time or anything like that either. The new Kanish voice that's not wanting to be on time at all and just gonna let this whole thing probably blow over, which will be the smart thing to do, And hell, there is one VA that has to be mentioned, and the whole reason why genuinely I'm kind of doing this video, which is Venti's VA. Venti's VA Oh hell, she has smoke. She a smoke demon for sure, for sure. Like we knew Barbados was a demon name, but she putting it to use here, right? This woman made a whole, or I won't say specifically. I won't be specific, but this woman made a whole track just yesterday, which very much sounds like it's pointing right at somebody and something very specific, right? I'll even go as far as to play the whole damn clip of what the whole song was. Taking a guess, just taking a shot, just honestly, just maybe making our own assumptions. This is 100% directed at the situation, and most likely at Paimon's VA, right? Can we keep it a stack, right? So many people in the comments are like, "Oh my gosh, is this where I think it's directed at?" And she's just giving like this, the subtlest, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Amazing, genuinely amazing. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie. Hell, and it's crazy. It's crazy when Lamine, or at least Lamine's VA, is also within the comments. Almost, if you know, you know. I knew I liked Lamine for a good ass reason. I knew I liked her for a hot ass reason. For sure. Not only is she out here, cracking the shit out of the abyss, but she also out here being the equal smoke demon with the damn animal arc. Goated shit. Nice shit. We like to see that. So my point of all this being said really is that not every single English voice actor needs to genuinely be replaced. Because there's a lot of them that really see this stuff and either A, don't really want to get involved into any of this, B, really just, want to get back to work and enjoy voice acting the characters, and then C, really just straight up don't like this at all, and possibly would want to say something against it, maybe not directly, but they will definitely say something against it. So when it comes down to it, it's not, again, just to basically beat this over a lot of people's heads, it's not every single English voice actor that is terrible. When I see people say, "Oh, just get rid of the entirety of English," I think that's obviously, again, a bad call, because that would ruin a lot of people's experience for the game, and most people would probably drop the game if there is no English after all this time. And that's something that Hoyo would probably want to avoid. In my professional, non-professional, just YouTube for having ass speculatory, not legal standing points of any type of thing, having ass opinion, like that's just genuinely something as a business I wouldn't want to do if I was running it, right? Hypothetically. But when it comes down to it though, I guess that's really all I want to say for this one. Really just to voice out, again, that there is VAs worth saving, worth fighting for to keep their jobs. And then there's also the ones that, obviously done the nonsensical shit. And just everything overall when it comes down to the situation, just to add a bit more things to it, right? So that's really, again, all I wanted to say about this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on my outs, also on socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, go find Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's been your boy Jay, signing off. I'll talk to you about this again when something else new happens, I guess. Have a blessed day.